Vinyl collecting, what's it all about? Well, let's find out with a little bit of music history. Since 1867, the creation of the gramophone by one Emile Berliner, the evolution from pellets, pucks to vinyl has been an interesting one. Created in 1948 by Columbia Records, vinyl has been a staple music and for enthusiasts alike. Unfortunately, it faded out of popularity in the mid-80s due to portable cassette players. Luckily enough, it's however made a comeback fairly recently, in part thanks to the younger generation. Because of this resurgence, due to the populace getting bored with digital music, vinyl and its equipment have went up in price, but also in quality, and the collector's market has never been so popular. So let's find out why vinyls have made a comeback in a big way, and why the collector's market boomed. I'm going to the record fair to speak with the owner. Thanks for letting us film this documentary in your shop. This is in collaboration with New College Lanarkshire and the Royal Television Society about vinyl records in the collector's market. Could you introduce yourself and how you got started?
My name's Paul Gordon. I started Record Fair in 1983. Started in Argyll Market up in Argyll Street beside Marks and Spencer's above River Island. It's a small stall, 88 square feet. And then I started here in 91. And I've been here since really, nearly 30 years now. I started before that, I started in the Record Exchange down Jamaica Street, down the bottom of Jamaica Street, beside Richard Sounds. In 1980 when I left school, started there, this is my 40th year. I thought I'll do my 6 months then I'll get into a decent job, so nothing really transpired after that, so I just get deeper and deeper into vinyl and it's been good to me. So.
What kind of people do you have coming into the record fair?
Any kind, varies, any walk of life. It's an open door so anybody can come in. They all like music, everybody's like music, it's universal, there's no boundaries. The kids from 8 to 78 buying records, it really is right through the board. I mean, it's just music, it's whatever hits your ear, whatever age. I've had young kids coming in with their grandparents and that, buying records, 2 or 3 at a time. And there's one young particular chap, he's got a great eye for, or a great ear rather, for the music that he likes. He picks classic singles and that, right for the 60s upwards, so it's really nice to see.
How would you get someone new to the format into vinyl?
I suppose you could start simple with a cheaper turntable, one of these box standard cheap ones that you can get a built-in amplifier and speakers in it for about 50-60 quid. But if you're really going for the long haul, you'd be best putting out money and get a decent separate turntable, separate speaker, separate amp. You always get better quality sound from that.
In your opinion, what inspires people to start collecting vinyl?
Kudos, I suppose the advertising has a lot to do with it. I'd hate to say it, but some people like sheep, they tend to go for whatever they're told to kind of buy, which is the latest fad, whether it's your iPod, whether it's your new turntable, whether it's vinyl, whether it's back to CD. We might actually go back to tapes as I hear tapes are coming out. It's phenomenal, I remember when I first went into HMV 40 years ago and it was all vinyl, really. Tapes were the big thing. Tapes were always geared than vinyl actually. It was much more harder to make a tape than it was to press a vinyl. And then CDs came out in the middle 80s, so CDs really took over, vinyl started to disappear, so again, like I hate to say, but I think people are manipulated by the advertising for the better sound of the CD. I think it's probably made for more like your Kraftwerk, your electronic sounding music, but I think you're rocking when you've got your separate drums and guitars and that. I think the needle is the better on the vinyl. I do believe that.
Do you collect anything yourself, Paul?
Not now. No, I used to know, but it became a job now. I love music. I love I love getting records in. That's my main feature of my records. I love that. I've always loved that. If I see it scratched, then I don't put it on the shelves that jumps or sticks, or it's just pointless because you're there to enjoy it. So.
Is vinyl collecting a worthwhile hobby to get into?
I think so. Especially it just depends on the mood you wake up in. You could be listening to anything from Carpenters to Anthrax. Napalm Death to Chopin, it just depends on the mood you're in, what you feel like, so having a good collection is decent, I think.
Do you think vinyl and collecting in general is a male-oriented hobby?
I think men seem to be more into collecting vinyl. I think they seem to be more serious about record buyers, and I tend to be, I don't know if you can say things like this, but you tend to find when you get second-hand collections and it's usually the women's collections that are scratched. I think they treat them more as a kind of a love the icon at the time, the good looking guy, whether it's David Essex or Take That or whatever. Things don't get treated as well. So I think the guys are more into collecting and taking care of things.
Do you or have you had any rare vinyls in the store, or are they very hard to come by?
I've had a few in the last 4 or 5 years. I've been, like £1,000 I sold one for over 2,000. I have to sell them on eBay. You wouldn't get somebody walking in and buying it in here. I wouldn't. There's only been half a dozen that I've sold on eBay. That's the only time I ever touch it. I don't believe in it, unfortunately, but it's the only way you'll get a real crazy price for a record. And that was like a South Korean doctor that bought the turquoise covered Led Zeppelin album from me for 2,200.
How much of an influence is nostalgia for folk buying vinyl?
Well, I think a lot of people go back to their past. I think it's always a comfort blanket, you know. You have guys that are, especially guys again, I'm going into men again, because they tend to break away from their music when they have kids, family, marriage, mortgages, buying cars. Then they stop all that, end up with a man cave and revert back to being a kid again, and that's when they get back to getting into music again.
Have you had any famous customers or collectors come into the store?
Well, I don't know if you like Still Game. I've had a couple of punters at Still Game. Aye, bought Frank Zappa t-shirts off me. Winston, for instance, Paul Riley plays Winston. He comes in quite regular. Not been in for a few years now since he's moved for Dean Anderson. Well, my bag is the Sonic Temple cult bag from the album cover, Sonic Temple. So I had Ian Asbury. He was in the shop about 25 years ago asking for a Billy Duffy bag. You know, so I was just glad that he wasn't going to sue me for using the logo, because I had 20,000 of the bags on the stair. But it says they didn't mind the customers using the bags, so I just thought, well, I asked him how he hit his voice up for singing and that, so he just threw the octaves and that, because they'd played the Barlands the night before apparently, so some customer must have said that I had the Billy Duffy motive on my bag. So he came in to get a wee bag, aye.
Do you think records will disappear again for a time?
On my lifetime, disappear? I don't think so. There's too many of them out there to disappear. I think there'll always be an interest in the sound of it, you know. I don't doubt that other technologies will probably come out, because, as I say, they keep reforming all these kind of sounds to make money, generate money, you know.
After speaking with Paul, it's clear he has a cautious but optimistic look at collecting and music formats. His explanation on collecting and the gap between men and women was agreeable, but I also think it's in part historically due to women having more responsibilities as caregivers and men having more time to themselves thanks to long working hours and less of a parental role. But it's changing and will continue to change. As I was doing the interview with Paul, I couldn't help but look around the shop. I could see the younger generation looking for something new, on a format they've just gotten into, and I could see the older generation as well, looking for music that they most likely already heard on a format that they've been listening to most likely since they were kids. But it's all academic. Collecting vinyl isn't about getting every record out there, it's about expressing your music taste through your collection. In theory, a reflection of yourself. Vinyl's never been more experimental or as expensive, with limited runs, colour variations, and picture vinyl, and much more. But I also disagree in some aspects, as when someone like myself gets into buying and collecting, the last thing I want is to be on the hunt getting every limited run collectible out there. It's not feasible and it's not affordable. I hope this documentary has given you some insight into the world of collecting and vinyl records. If you get the chance, you should definitely visit Paul's shop. He has a wide variety of music on most formats. And don't be afraid to ask. If you're looking for something new or music you're not sure you'll like, he's your man. Big thank you to Paul for letting us into his shop to do the interview, and I'll see you in the next documentary. Goodbye for now.